description, you will have the telemetry, setups, tutorials, and everything else you need to fully analyze your driving. Our data packs and the ability to compare your driving with the best in the world will show you exactly where to adjust your inputs, change your driving line, and shave seconds off of your lap times. And our powerful and precise Direct Force Pro wheelbase and precision pedals are being used by some of the world's best drivers, including Peter Berryman, John Robertson, Brandon Trano, and IndyCar World Champion Alex Palou. All these champions agree that VRS hardware is not just the best on the market, it's also priced well below the competition. So if you're looking to upgrade to direct drive and the best pedals in sim racing, VRS is your answer. If you want to get better, get faster, and make it happen sooner rather than later, you owe it to yourself to find out why so many people are switching to VRS. You'll be so glad that you did. Visit www.virtualracingschool.com and learn why the best use VRS.
Howdy, 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 everybody, and welcome to the Apex Racing Academy VRS Formula 3 Super Series here at Silverstone. I'm Austin. I'm joined by Sam Fitzpatrick with John Robertson in the production booth, and you're here live watching Apex Racing TV.
Yes, and this is round 2 of the championship. Got a lot of good races in for you tonight. 4 races, varying between 12 and 15 minutes, and about 40 cars taking part as well. So this should be a very exciting race. Austin, going to be a lot of overtaking, lots of racing.
Yeah, a lot of overtaking and racing, and a great show for everybody at home, and just having a great time here because, you know, Silverstone, such a fun track, and hey, the heat racing is so fun. You know, we got 2 groups here, 12 minutes, get everybody into their respective groups, and then it's going to be the main event. As we can see, qualifying starting out right now, open qualifying, so everybody's just getting their way onto the track, and well, hey, about to make this as fast as 10 minutes, you'll see. Second fastest minutes you'll see today, since there's F1 qualifying today.
Yes, but of course these guys will still be going very quick, very wide circuit around this place. Not a particularly grippy surface at the same time, but they'll be able to carry a lot of speed these very high speed corners as well. Yeah, the heat format is, well, certainly when it gets introduced to us, so we have used it a few times in the past, but you really need a lot of drivers to make it work. You need 35 plus drivers in order to make it work, and in round 1 we had that, and it seemed to minimize the incidents. I know I've just cursed this race. We're going to have absolutely horrible racing, I'm sure, but no, last time at least it works very well. And yeah, of course, just half the drivers on the grid for race 1, half the drivers on the grid for race 2. Then we'll have a B final, as that's a little bit of an unnecessary incident there in qualifying. Come on, guys. And they'll have to take back to the pits and get back out on track. But you don't want to do that. It's a long lap around here at Silverstone. And so, yeah, you don't want to waste any time.
Yeah, the outlap is really long around here. So if you don't time that out, or if you get into an incident and you've had a few incidents already and you're just cutting it close, it's going to be extremely tight to get a lap in within those 10 minutes. Especially if you get about 1 or 2 bad laps right there. And, you know, all these drivers, they know where the off tracks are, thanks to the new iRacing update. Automatically has that up for everyone to check and, you know, inspect the rules, and they completely forget about them when they get onto the track. I'm not saying that from experience or anything as well, but yeah, the track conditions, very tricky. And some of these drivers were, I was sitting in practice for most of the practice time, and some of the drivers were complaining about the track conditions being, quote, confusing.
Yeah, I didn't see those comments, to be honest, but this race, or the practice, started at basically sunrise. So it's got a little bit warmer since then. It should still be quite cool, so it should still be a decent amount of grip for the drivers, maybe a little bit warmer compared to some of the official series races that they've had, which won't be too fantastic for them, may make them slide a little bit more. As we're only now 3 minutes into the session, really getting an idea of some of the sector times that are being pushed in, with some of the drivers about 2/3 the way around the lap, trying to put their first efforts of this 10-minute qualifying session in.
Yeah, first qualifying efforts coming in right now as we're looking at Jean May heading through Cops Corner. I thought he was actually being bump drafted right there. That's a 280 right beside him, the 280 of Leslie Sorensen. Just getting the overtake right there. I'm pretty sure making overtaking moves in qualifying is not the fastest way to go right there, but he was all over the gearbox right now. Tobias Olsen puts in the first time right there as our timing tower is just going to start getting filled up right there. But last week's winner and defending champion Tobias Olsen currently tops the timing sheets as well as they should be, and he's currently leading by 700ths ahead of Chris Rosenkrantz.
Yeah, and Rosenkrantz was fastest in practice by 0.4 of a second. Rosenkrantz, really good driver, and it's remarkable he hasn't won more races in this series because he is honestly super quick, but always seems to get involved in the instant. I remember he had a bit of a mare around here a couple of seasons ago when he qualified up in P5. I think he may have had 2 spins on the lap ones come the races. So yeah, just often has some bad luck, but he has got the pace. Still plenty of time to improve in this session. We do usually see the drivers get faster and faster. They won't necessarily come in for a new set of tyres. They'll just keep on going round on track and they just get faster and faster as the session goes on. So expect that 50. We might even get to into the 149s, honestly, by the end of this qualifying session. But yeah, Olsen and Rosenkrantz at the top there. Samuel Hermer, a driver who I'm not familiar with, and Wesman as well, I'm not familiar with either. But they're doing very well in the second row.
Samuel Hermer and Nicholas Westman are competitors in the IGP Fun Formula 3 series, which is what we've been covering that on Sundays here on Apex Racing TV, and for about a year, I believe. Unfortunately, they're not continuing with us anymore, but glad to see the faces here once again on Apex Racing TV as the second set of times. 17 drivers got their first laps in there, and 17 out of about the 35 that we have right now put in valid laps. So a lot of drivers making a little bit of all-track mistakes right there. Olsen improves on his time. Samuel Hermer improves up to second place by 0.02 of a second. And then Lennart Schnabel takes provisional pole by 0.05 of a second ahead of Olsen. Jack Reeve currently on provisional pole for the AM race, and he is sitting in 10th place overall. Very tightly packed field for the top 14 within 1 second of Lennart Schnabel, that 150.5. Sorensen tops Jack Reeve for 10th.
Yeah, and Sorensen currently top out of the amateur drivers at the moment. Ahead of Reeve, that is what the green stripe indicates on the timing tower. Rasmussen just puts in a lap time as well. Hay moves into 12th position, so I've got a few more drivers now, 26 drivers now setting times so far in this session. But Schnabel, remember last season, he was an amateur driver. He won the title quite convincingly in the end, had a particularly good Laguna Seca round as well, which really helped him with his points. And at the moment, he is going toe-to-toe with the pro drivers, but to expect the drivers to continue to improve. I still think there's a few more tenths of a second possible as of these drivers.
I believe Tobias Olsen and Jack Reeve, I think the top 3 right now, Jack Reeve, Olsen, and Schnabel, I think they all backed off immediately after those laps to re-cool down the tires. I've been talking to a few of the Formula 3 guys, and they said the tires been a little bit weird throughout a race, as you can see. No improvements right there, so I think Schnabel has been cooling down these tires, not taking them very aggressively, but the top 3 separated by 0.07 of a second. That is so close right there. We're getting to IndyCar levels of qualifying, and whoa, almost a little bit of oversteer. Oh, actually, a lot of bit of oversteer. Almost lost it as he starts out his second lap for Lennart Schnabel. As we have minutes and 10 seconds left here in qualifying, so this will be the last opportunity for Schnabel. And, oh no! Lost it under the braking. And, well, now he's just going to have to hope that his lap stays throughout here. There's Tobias Olsen heading through that sector right there. And, getting off the grass, he's going to getting a little bit wide. Back end kicked out. And he's going to continue on. Just didn't get an off track, but that's going to really hurt his speed right there. Kabami Chani, did he get onto the board? Yes, he did. 28th. That was his first lap.
And of course, the drivers have to complete their lap time by the time that the 10 minutes is up. So this will definitely be Olsen's lap. He'll still have about 10 to 15 seconds remaining. You're absolutely right. Yeah, trying to cut as much as possible. Even if he didn't pick up a 1x though, coming out of the loop, help but feel running that way is just going to kill his run. Yeah, and that was definitely a 1x there. So he was having to push it in order to regain that time. But it wasn't enough for him. Sorensen, he is not going to set another lap. We've still got Negretti out there. He's probably the highest placed driver who's still got to complete a lap. Anyone dangerous
just
further?
Improved on his time. Just improved on his time. Negret through Sector 4 has improved on his time. He's coming up to the end right now. Justin Negret, are we going to be seeing a position improvement? We will just have to see in 3, 2, 1. And Justin Negret doesn't improve on his time.
Maybe it was an outlap.
No, he did improve.
He did improve.
He did improve. It was minuscule, though. I don't even think if he improved, it might have just been by 100th of a second.
I mean, if we were counting the 2 best lap times as Mara goes to 16th, then Negretti would be in a very good position right here. But unfortunately, it's your fastest lap. Zwemstra moves up to 9th position. Also, Lado moves to 15th place. Lane on his debut, I believe, in 21st. And of course, that is end of qualifying. So now we'll have all the odd place drivers in this Heat 1. 18 drivers for this Heat 1, and it'll be a 12-minute long event.
Yeah, Leonard Schnabel will be starting up on the front row with Samuel Hermer right beside him. Matthias Martinson, Justin Negret, Kevin Zwemstra, Nicholas Rasmussen, Lassie Sorensen, Alejandro Svevo Lado, Chuck Morrow, Joshua Auxari, Josh Lane, James Cochran, Michael Gabachi, Michael Blaise, Kabali Ochani, Jose Areo, Rickard Barberg, and Corey Schwab at the end of this 18-car grid. First heat. It's gonna be a lot of fun right here at Silverstone. 18 cars getting all lined up and getting ready to go here for the second round of the Apex Racing Academy Formula 3 VRS Super Series Season 6.
Yeah, it was, I think Season 1 must have been 2.5 years ago, I think.
It was a long time.
Used to be
every other season.
The US time zone.
Yes.
Used to be in the middle of the night for us Brits.
Yeah, I remember that. I think I was in Season 2 or 3 when I was competing instead of commentating in it. And the very famous meme of me flipping a Formula 3 car at Imola came out of that.
Yeah, it wasn't quite my title run in the BSR Radical Winter Series, but I'm sure if you were out there today, Austin, you'd be absolutely wiping the floor with these guys.
Nope.
When I was teeing you up there, they can't prove it. The viewers don't know.
My practice times say something completely different. Well, we are all lined up and ready to go. The 5 red lights are getting lit right now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 red lights, and it's green, green, green here. And it's a good start. A little bit of a slow start by somebody in the background. That's Leslie Sorensen, but Leonard Schnabel covers off Samuel Herbert right now. Herbert looking down to the inside. Almost flirting with Cesar, and he does. He gets a little bit offset right there. And there's contact made between Samuel Herbert and Martin Martinson. And Matthias Martinson and Herbert. Herbert got loose right there. We got a car getting loose in the braking zone, gets turned around right there, spinning in the middle of the pack. That is Joshu in the 121 car. Getting very offset right there. The fight for second place really wide. Samuel Hernsson, Matthias Martinson, and Nicholas Rasmussen. The 3 cars fighting for second. We got 1 car spinning around in the background right there. A little bit of a look down to the inside. Here comes Matthias. looking down low, heading into Brooklyn's, covering off Samuel Hermer. Hermer getting almost into the gearbox right there, as this is very tightly fought right now, as Lennart Schnabel's running away from the pack. Samuel Hermer, after that poor start, very, very squirmy on the brakes right now. And it looks like his tires just don't have the grip that everyone else has after he overheated them by getting a little bit squirrely. Because here comes Nicholas Rasmussen. Rasmussen using almost all the track. He's definitely didn't use as much as Matthias ahead of him. And he's trying to get that run on Samuel Hermer heading into Maggots, Beggars, and Chapel.
I mean, that was a miracle. We didn't have a huge pile-up at Abbey, and even into the first chicane as well. Could have been a whole lot worse for the drivers, but they managed to get through it with really Negretti, Alzugaray, and Sorensen, the big losers from those early stages. Mattinson seemingly getting away slightly from these other drivers as they stay in line into Stowe. Meanwhile, K-Batch now top of the amateur drivers. Top 10 get through this race straight into the A final. That is where you want to be, and currently on the cusp of that is Chuck Marrow, the pro driver.
Yeah, Chuck Morrow in that catbird seat right there, and he's definitely going to be looking for a lot more. Kabachi and Bobberg, Ricker Bobberg and Kabachi, both of them, the two AM drivers sitting in 7th and 8th, they had a good start as well. Rupert Bobberg up 9 spots from the start, currently the biggest mover and definitely the best starter off the line. Everything went his way that first lap. Can he keep it for the Swedish driver? Samuel Hermer sitting in 3rd spot. That was such an aggressive start by Samuel Hermer, looking down the inside of Abbey and actually making contact with Schnabel. And as soon as I saw that car going sideways, I'm just like, oh no, we're going to have a, we're going to have a massive incident right here, but he somehow kept it clean.
Yeah, and we'll get a replay of that at some point when this starts to cool down a little bit. As yeah, Boberg is a little bit slow. 2nd place in the amateur championship at the moment, trying to get past the 1st place man in this amateur race in the form of K-Batch, but that has put him into the clutches of Cockrum, and Marrow there in 10th place. And of course, watch out for Sorensen and Negretti and co to be making their way back up. Only 12 minutes this heat race, and of course only 4 drivers go through from the B final. So if you don't get in the top 10 in the heats, you're going to be in trouble. As Marrow off the track, he stays in the top 10 for now, but that's just made his day a little bit harder, and he now drops behind Josh Lane. That could be a crucial mistake there from the AJR racing driver.
Yeah, Josh Lane getting lucky right there. Speaking of this, we might have a little bit of roll of the dice. Hermer and Rasmussen were side by side heading into the chicane. Rasmussen getting back behind Hermer right there. Hermer still trying to chase down Martinson. Definitely wants that 2nd spot, as Lane and Chuck Morrow are having a little bit of swapping around in 10th places. Look at this, Chuck Morrow getting pushed wide off the track by Blias, and Morrow getting onto the grass right there, and here comes Blias looking down the inside, almost getting Lane right there.
Oh, Martinson. So Martinson's just dropped down to 4th place all of a sudden. I thought it may have been a bit more of a significant issue, but he has just dropped down to, well, now 3rd place. So Martinson from 2nd down to 5th.
He might have wing damage. Let's see if we can get a camera on Matthias right there. There's Chuck Morrow getting a slowdown penalty, dropping down to 13, so even worse. And this is what happened to Matthias Martinson right on board this is coming out of Abbey. There's Martinson on the outside, Hermer down the inside. Oh, that is a side check right there, and that undoubtedly would have given a that probably would have given suspension damage right there.
Yeah, it doesn't look good, does it? Wow, well, that will be outside the top 10 most likely.
Well, he's currently sitting in 3rd. No, he's sitting in 5th.
Yeah, and see, he lost that position to Zwemstra fairly quick, so his pacing's feel right. I wonder if we could ride on board with him, just see if the car is tracking straight or whether he's having to put a bit of out to steering. The wing looks fine, and of course it was just contact with the tyres. He seems to be struggling a bit though, doesn't he?
Yeah, I don't see any irregularities. I don't see anything off right now.
Irregularities.
Ooh, rounding the outside defensive move, but yeah, I think there might be something up with that car. Might have a little bit of floor damage going on there, because he did get airborne. He's currently still safe, right now, 10th place is 7 seconds behind him. And you got closing in on 6 minutes left in this race. Matthias Martinsson can definitely keep this pace up. Don't try to fight any of these situations that Chuck Morrow has gone into the pit lane.
Yeah, so we saw him have the slowdown initially, didn't we?
Yes.
And then seemed to just get, well, he had an off initially, then he had a slowdown. Now he's gone back to the pit, so odd one. There is Sorensen. He can see a top 10 coming his way. I mean, like I was saying earlier on, these are short races, but you see how much goes on. Positions very much open up for you, and Sorensen maybe has the pace to catch up to Lane by the end of this race. He's still got 6 minutes to go. Needs to pass Charney straight away, and that's what he's going to do. What he's going to do here.
Yeah, what he's going to do on the straightaway, down to the inside, and oh, Johnny gets out a little bit wide, covers him off, and there is 12th place for Lasse Sorensen. We saw that qualifying by Lasse, definitely getting up there and doing very quickly. Dropped down 5 spots, and now his next target is Blythe, 3 seconds ahead of him. Back to our fight for 2nd place, Rasmussen and Hermer through Maggots, Beckett, and Chapel. And if you're up here, what's the strategy going on in your head? It's like, okay, I'm in the safe zone. Should I be fighting with these guys as hard as I can, or should I just play a little bit safe? And I would say if you're one of the amateur drivers, I would be playing a little bit safe. But for these top drivers, they're going for all of it as they can. And Samuel Herbert has been going for all of it right now. James Cochran down to the inside of Werner Kvajic and up into 8th place. Because currently right now we have 3 amateurs heading into the final.
Yeah, good work from those drivers. Cochran now up 4 places from his start. He's been lapping about a second faster than K-Batch, at least on the previous lap that time round. Yeah, 1.2 seconds faster, so certainly seems to have a strong pace advantage. Might be able to catch up to Boberg by the end of this race. K-Batch actually kind of just dropping back, hasn't he? He was up in 7th place earlier on, but not quite with the pace. I think that could start to be flattering his position in the early stages. Now we've got Blaze, and he is trying to get past Lane, and that would be for the final slots straight through to the A final. The drivers get points for both this heat race and the A final, and their final result. So even if you only get through to Consolation, you'll still get points. But obviously, first place in the Consolation or first place in the B final will get less points than last place in the A final. So that's what the race you want to be in.
Rickard Popper's around.
He's made a mistake. Boberg from the lead in the amateurs, and he is not going to get through into the A final like that. Crucial mistake there from the Crips Racing driver.
All on his own, too. Heading in, this is just going to be a count of too much mustard mid-corner. Yeah, he's just trying to carry him enough speed, and he was so safe right there. And he went around and luckily stayed clear of everybody else heading into them. But that's one more spot for Sorensen, and Sorensen trying to get back within the top 10. He just has one driver to pass now. That's going to be Blaze ahead of him. As this is Channy on the back of Boberg.
I think you mentioned.
Yeah.
So I think you mentioned earlier on how the Formula One is going on today, and I do think there's a limit. This kind of format does have that slight feeling of qualifying, whether you can get into Q1. You know, if you've got a pro driver, for example, like Negretti, I think he's probably the most competitive driver outside the top 10 at the moment, not getting straight through. I'd say it's quite a big deal. Of course, he does have that second race to be able to get through, but yeah, that cut-off is particularly important as we see these drivers sorts of in a train. No changes at the moment, with Hermer staying ahead of Rasmussen. Schnabel 1.1 seconds ahead. Gap actually came down by half a second that last time round, but does look like Schnabel's got control as Rasmussen is ahead of Hermer now all of a sudden. So I think that may have been a mistake from the PGR driver, because I think he was cleared just beforehand.
Yeah, we're getting the replay right now, and here's the overtake. It's getting a great run out of the first, out of the arena section, and heading into Brooklands, and this is Rasmussen textbook down to the inside, late braking move into Brooklands, and beauty of a move by Nicholas Rasmussen. See Hermer try to go for the switchback right there, but he didn't have it all lined up right there. His back wheel, his front wing and the back wheel of Rasmussen's are kind of lined up. And, Hermer getting past at the entry of Max Bex and Chalo. You see the back end kicking out just a little bit by Samuel Hermer. Really aggressive on that setup and car. So he's weaving all down the all down the straightaway, trying to break the draft of Rasmussen. And Rasmussen, he's just right on that gearbox right there, waiting for another move. And we're going to be approaching the white flag this time by, as that is Rasmussen going out a little bit wide. And you can see Rasmussen backing off just a little bit. I think he's going to be setting himself up for that move into second place.
He's just dropped back a little bit though, making a mistake through Vale. And now it's going to be tricky for him to regain that time. So it could be an important mistake there from the Norwegian driver. Danish driver, sorry, dear me. Here is Sorensen. He is Norwegian. And he is nearly onto the back of Blaze. Comeback drive from Sorensen. That last lap he was 1.4 seconds faster. He's only 7/10 behind, and so he will undoubtedly catch. But the big question is, will he be able to overtake? Oh, that's a big mistake there from Blaze, and that gap has diminished even quicker than it already was.
Yeah, there's Sorensen, really aggressive heading into that corner right now. And now, if you're Sorensen, this is definitely where you want to be closing in on Blaze ahead of you. Blaze, he's not really being that active on the defense. Feels like he could be just ahead, up ahead of him. Kamachi and Lane as Blaze. Oh, there's contact! Mid-corner Sorensen gets onto the back of Blaze right there, tap the gearbox, and around goes Sorensen. Sorensen unable to get into the final, and will have to race his way through the Consolation side by side through Cobb's corner. Lane down the inside, making it work right there. Kabach now trying for the outside move, heading into Magus Beckett. It's going to back away right there, but you just got to feel for Sorensen right there.
Yeah, well, Blaze was just really slow mid-corner, much slower than what Sorensen was aiming for, and went into the back of him as Schnabel rounding the final couple of corners here, and is going to take the Heat 1 win.
Yeah, Lennart Schnabel, and champion last season. Well, he's going for that main championship now. He's going to be taking Heat number 1 and advancing to the final with Samuel Hermer on his tail. Rasmussen takes 3rd place. And we're going to have 3 AM drivers head into the finale. Lane, Kaibach, and Blaze.
Yeah, Boberg will be kicking himself for that mistake when up in P7. And of course Martinson, after that contact, which we kind of thought might be game over for him, managing to still finish in 6th place. That's not good news for Martinson, obviously. And of course, where you finish in your heat race will decide where you start for the A final or B final. So you do desperately want to get further up. Obviously, points are on offer as well. So not good there for Martinson, but could have been worse because, yeah, I really thought that steering was whacked out the moment that he made that contact.
Yeah, I believe the car might have just got a little bit nicked right there, but it did seem okay. The initial impact was definitely hurtful right there, but hey, that he's made it to the final. So there's your Heat 1 results. The top 10: Blaze, Kaibach, Lane, Cochran, Martinson, Lado, Swemstrup, Rasmussen, Hermer, Schnabel all advanced to the finale, as Heat number 2 is on the grid right now and getting ready to rock and roll. Tobias Olsen, Rosencrantz, Westman, Larson, Petty, Hay, Reeve, Glamsetter, Scarrett, Russell, Duque, Akron in 12th place. Behind him is Pop, May, Poliard, Smith, and Helgard. Your 17 drivers all lined up and getting ready to rock and roll. Ahead of speed through that because the lights are coming on very soon. And by very soon, I mean, Gavin Petty has jumped off the grid.
And Smith will be starting from the pits. Petty has no penalty, so I'm not sure why he hasn't taken the grid.
I think he just despawned. He won't. By the skin of his teeth, getting back onto the grid, probably getting off that qualifying set. As it is 5 red lights. Heat 2 is green, 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 and away we go. It's a bad start in the background by Jamie Duque. as it is a great start by Tobias Olsen, and Rosenkrantz leading out right now. Rosenkrantz onto the inside of Tobias Olsen, getting a better start right there. Olsen defending onto the inside of Rosenkrantz. Rosenkrantz trying to hold it around the outside, but Olsen goes wide, pushing Rosenkrantz off the road. Rosenkrantz has the inside line. Olsen makes a mistake, and now Rosenkrantz has the lead. And there is Nicholas Westman onto the inside. Tobias Olsen, Westman getting a good run. Olsen, after that mistake, he's going to be holding around to the outside, getting that speed, getting back into second place. But now Westman's in the draft of Tobias Olsen as they're shuffling for position, just trying to find that spot. A little bit of moves happening in the rear as it's a wide line by Rosenkrantz. Olsen now getting onto his outside, side by side in the background as well for fourth place. Jack Reeve and Gavin Petty are in a tight spot right now, but look at this. Olsen to Rosenkrantz. Oh man, mid-corner. Fighting right now. Olsen looking down to the inside. Rosenkrantz defending all the way to the wall. Rosenkrantz looking. Oh, he's let the window open and heading into Cops. Luckily, no contact right there. So here comes Nicholas Westman taking all advantage of the chaos happening ahead of him. Getting right onto the gearbox of Tobias Olsen as they head through Magus Beckison Chapel right now. It's the top six. Rosenkrantz, Olsen, Westman, Larson, Petty, and Jack Reeve. The top six right now. Jack Reeve doing a great start, making an overthrow on Christian Glansetter, as we are looking at everybody all lined up in the draft of Chris Rosenkrantz. Tobias Olsen, he's got a small gap to Nicholas Westman right behind him. And down the inside, that's Alistair Hay onto the inside of Alexander Scarrett. He dropped 2 spots from the start, and he's going to be looking to improve that. Right now, it's currently 2 spots in the clear. Need to be in the top 10 to advance the next round. We got 2 cars around in the chicane. That's Akron and John May.
I think another car got involved as well. Was it Poliart who I think made secondary contact as well? Yeah, Helgerd. So here it was made down now down into 16th. Oh, and then you just got a car spinning in front.
Turn around and then off the exit. Just a little bit of tap there, and a piece of debris flying through the air. That was the engine intake.
Was a crazy first lap between Rosenkrantz and also, I mean, Rosenkrantz completely off the track through the first hairpin. However, that is legal. If iRacing call it legal, it is legal. ARL don't add any track penalties like that. Even though that probably wouldn't be allowed in real life motorsport, he will get away with that one, as we see Petty versus Larson, and this is a position gain then for Petty compared to their starting places, and these guys have really dropped away from the rest of the drivers. Here comes Reeve as well, approaching the back of them, and this group is just going to get super close, so spread out as they head through Cobb's corner. Super tricky to stay within, or as close as they were heading into the corner, and this goes all the way back to the final progression point, which is Philip Russell in 10th place.
Yeah, that first lap move, Olsen pulled on Rosenkrantz, going wide into that corner. It's really Fernando Alonso as at Circuit of the Americas. You know, well, Alonso was doing it on purpose, and you know, they made the move around the outside. Rosenkrantz didn't make the move around the outside. He made the move in the next corner where Olsen locked up. So, as Fernando Alonso would say, karma.
Yeah. I love that meme. One of my favourites.
It's a beautiful meme. This is
up there with Rocket Ship as well. Got a Rocket Ship, and we still be 11th.
Yep. Great one. Another good Fernando Alonso. Rosenkrantz defending onto the inside, headed to Adam, getting a little bit wide right there. Here comes Tobias Olsen, switchback move. Olsen onto the outside, Rosenkrantz onto the inside right now. Are we going to be seeing a repeat of lap 1? Yeah, almost. We do. Olsen getting all the way onto the curve now. Olsen sends it down to the inside, getting the move made on Rosenkrantz. Rosenkrantz now using the round the outside technique. He's going to have the speed right now. He's going to be all over the gearbox of Tobias Olsen. Olsen defending all the way down to the grass right there. You see Westman just minding his own business, saying, you two fight it out right now. Rosenkrantz round the outside. He's got the speed made down the straight. Side by side they go, heading into Brooklyn's. Olsen and Rosenkrantz side by side. Still side by side. Rosenkrantz onto the inside of Tobias Olsen. Still wheel to wheel, nose to nose action here on lap 3. There's so many laps have passed right now as, oh, you can see a little bit of twitch right there. Rosenkrantz onto the inside of Olsen. Still heading into Cops corner. Rosenkrantz has the lead heading into Cops, getting all the track use right there. You see Olsen round the outside, getting a great run. Now Olsen is ahead of Rosenkrantz heading, oh, he's got onto the curb, and around goes Olsen. Around goes Olsen.
Oh, he does a very fortunate 360 there. Tries to rejoin the circuit, and Reed nearly collects him there. And now we've got Larson as well, got moving past him. So incredible stuff there from Olsen. And if anything, you know, he was getting aggressive just before then, but that was Olsen's mistake. He just moved a little bit too far across onto the curb, like he said. And now we've got a slight move across there from Larson into the braking area. Hay now having to defend from Glamsetzer, just behind, who's second place as of the AMP drivers, and Olsen drops all the way down to 8th place. He's going to do well to get a podium out of this.
Now remember what I said in Heat 1, was it in these drivers' best interest to be that aggressive in the heats? I think that really clarified my answer of no, because that almost ended disaster lead for Tobias Olsen. He's down into 8th place, he was in 9th place at one point, but now he's going to be very aggressive, trying to get up ahead of all these drivers to get a better start in that finale. But the defending champion and current championship leader, it's not looking good for him right now with that overly aggressive start.
Yeah, it's not working for him at the moment, as he's trying to go defensive against Glamsetzer after previously making that move just ahead of them as well. Is that going to be contact? That was super close with Hay trying to get past Larson. They both ran wide. Both lost each other about a second. Reeve, look how well Jack Reeve is doing. 3rd place in the Amateur Championship last season. Smith and Schnabel are now pros, so he's the highest placed driver from last season, who is still an amateur driver. And he is performing superbly at the moment, up there in P4 with all this batsing going on behind. Has got himself a nice gap.
Yeah, great seeing Jack Reeve do well. He's a very constant in the Apex Racing League. All the Apex Racing Leagues, and amazing to see that as Alistair Hay, well, he's going to be really under pressure by Tobias Olsen, as Olsen right on that gearbox right now, closing in on like he's able to warp speed right now, looking down the inside, alongside with Hay, up ahead of Hay, and he's going to be saying, well, see you later, Hay.
I've got a terrific pun for Hay. I'm not going to use it now. I'm going to wait for the opportunity to use it later on. But get grace, guys, because it's absolutely superb.
Olsen is really pushing that car. You see him getting extremely loose, heading through the chicane. The back end is so unstable, but he's definitely making it work right there. But he's definitely pushing himself to just get that position right there. But Tobias Olsen, well, this is going to be a recovery drive, and if that was aggressiveness to get to the lead, just in the heats, I'm scared to see what we're going to be seeing in the final.
Oh, no, he's round the game. He's overheated those tyres surely, and he's really struggling, like you were saying before, Austin. And wow, this race is absolutely dreadful for Tobias Olsen, who was so consistent last season. And honestly, I mean, if he finishes here, then he'll start 14th for the A final, and there's going to be very little he's going to be able to do from back there. So he needs to make up some places, but I think catching up to Larson probably over now. He just needs to cool down those tyres and attack Hay and make sure that he makes that position stick.
I would say he needs to calm down. He's being way too aggressive. The back end of that car is so upset, been overheating those tires, and if he continues to drive like he is, a mistake, a even more dreadful mistake might happen. And if he continues to be that aggressive, we might not see Tobias Olsen make it to the final if he continues to push that car, as that's a big slide for Olsen right there. A little bit of over-rotation happening through Magnus Beckett's. I don't think Olsen's going to be calming down. I feel like this is just the eye of the storm for Tobias Olsen, getting down to the inside of Alistair Hay right now. Tobias Olsen clears him heading into the corner, and now heading back into the chicane. Are we going to be seeing that back end step out for Tobias Olsen once more?
Oh, unfortunately, the guys are now passing behind with Smith, gets him past Hay, and Hay gets overtaken by his fellow countryman, at least from the United Kingdom. Glamsetzer back ahead of Russell. Glamsetzer, you may have seen a couple of laps ago, just in the background, any eagle-eyed viewers, had a slowdown. The Maggots and Beckett section, I think he was actually going through Chapel. They ended up picking up the slowdown. He's actually come back against Philip Russell right there, two former drivers. Batsing against, apologies, they're both still, aren't they? But I think Russell may have got promoted to a pro for one season maybe, but anyway, they're both going to be at the top this season, and currently 9th and 10th overall. Pop 3 seconds behind, doesn't look like the German's going to be able to do anything. Smith is
Under pressure
still
by
having to
Hay.
defend against Hay, isn't he? So he made that move at Vale on the lap. He's pulled a little bit of a gap now, so he might be home and dry.
And Aaron Smith with the proto charge Sims 14. Making good moves on Alistair Hay. That chicane move, Alistair Hay really backed away from Tobias also. I think he was expecting Tobias to be a little bit cautious heading into there, and then Aaron Smith really aggressive making that move on Alistair Hay. As Tobias Olsen, he's really putting the work into that car right now, pulling ahead and getting a good gap and onto the tail of Larson. Closing in on Larson. There's Jack Reed at the front of this pack. He's got Larson and Olsen right behind him in that little three-car group. That battle for fourth place. But Jack Reed, what a drive it is for the amateur driver right here.
Yeah, I'm just trying to see where he, what his points were from round one. At the moment in the Amateur Championship, of course, only one meeting complete, so still a long way to go. In fact, Reeve is championship leader, so he scored very well at Watkins Glen. Boberg in second place. Is all very close with this point scoring system. It's going to be close, particularly between the top three, Reeve, Boberg and Sorensen. But neither Boberg nor Sorensen did get through in the end, didn't he, in Heat 1, but he will be starting quite far down. Reeve will be starting in the top 10 if he finishes in 4th or 5th in this race for the A final, and a lot of points would be available to him if he could convert that. This is the final lap of the race. He's been caught by Larson, he's been caught by Olsen. Dare I say one more lap and he might have been overtaken by both of them. But I think he should be all right here from attacks from behind.
Yeah, he's looking pretty good. We got a lap car up ahead of him. Poliard is the lapped car. He's going really slow heading into Cops Corner, and Jack Reed will probably catch him heading into Magus Beckus and Chapel. And hopefully that lap car doesn't get in his way, because that will allow Larson to have an opportunity to catch him. But here we go, heading to Magus Beckus and Chapel. Poliard is that car ahead of Jack Reeve, as there is Larson right on the tail of Jack Reeve. And Poliard goes to the opposite side of the track right now. Tobias Olsen has backed off. Did Olsen get a slowdown? I'm not sure, but oh, look at this. Jack Reeve under pressure by Larson. Larson looking around the outside, trying to set up a move, and Jack Reeve going really wide. Defending from Larson, trying to maximize that corner as Chris Rosenkrantz. Beautiful start, beautiful fight with Tobias Olsen. Will be taking the win of heat number 2, and will be starting on the front row of our finale. Westman and Petty finished 2nd and 3rd. Jack Reeve comes home in 4th ahead of Larson, and Aaron Smith in 6th place.
Past Olsen.
Oh, Smith getting past Olsen, the last corner of the last lap, it looks like. Here's Tobias Olsen. I noticed he dropped off the pace a lot. I believe he picked up a slowdown right here. Just got really, oh, he didn't pick up, oh, there's a slowdown right there. Got very heavy through Chapel, and that's a off track. That's also a slowdown. You see him going all the way to the outside of the track, serving that slowdown penalty. And while that was going on, here's Aaron Smith at the end of the straightaway, getting right onto the gearbox of Tobias Olsen. And where is Olsen going to go? He's going to go down to the inside, and I'm pretty sure that was Smith around the outside. As, well, I'm just guessing a spitballing right now as our B final is getting underway and being gridded up. Chris Rosenkrantz took the win at heat number 2, followed by Nicholas Westman, Gavin Petty, Jack Reeve, Larson, Aaron Smith, Tobias Olsen, Alistair Hay, Christian Glamsitter, and Philip Russell heading up into the finale, and will not be seeing their faces into the consolation. The consolation race, Rickard Boberg, Eduardo Pop, Justin Negret, Alexander Scarrett, Josu Algazari, Andreas Helgard, Kambali Chani, Rick Van Ackeren, Lassie Sorensen, Jamie Duque, Jose Arreo, and John May, followed by Corey Schwab, Nick Poliard, and Chuck Morrow. Our 15-car grid here for the consolation race, as that is a false start by Alexander Scarrett. Alexander Scarrett was the car in the 2nd row that jumped. Right beside him is Justin Negret, as we are green for the consolation race here. And that is a very slow car. Big contact in the background. Oreo, Schwab, and Poliard all involved right there. Looking down to the inside, the fight for second place. That is Alzari and Justin Negrete. Negrete now back to the inside. Right there, Negrete getting up into second place. Ozu Ogari and Alexander Scarrett. Scarrett will be having to serve that drive-through penalty for the false start right there. He's battling with Eduardo Pop.
Yeah, and top 4, remember, go through into the final, and so with Scarrett currently not in that top 4, should he take that that penalty, then Pop will be moving up into that position. It seems like Schwab is out of the race. I didn't see that incident at Club, as we got to Helgerud, seemingly very slow there. That couldn't have been a slowdown, I think. I think it cost him more time than that on that one. But yeah, just dropping a couple of places. Hoiberg in that pole position, really good place to start. He avoided all that mess, but the top 4 now all starting to swarm in. Of course, Negrete, Alzu, Gare, and Scott all very close. As yeah, that is an off for Dukai, yeah.
Yeah, Decay in the background spun around, and I think he just might have got really wide. One car went extremely wide through Pop's corner, and I think when he tried to get back on the track, might have hit the grass coming back in and just completely lost control of the car in that high-speed situation. Here is Sorensen right now onto the inside of Eduard Pop, and there goes Alexander Scarrett into the pit lane. And this is going to be the pit ins of all pit ins, and that's a big lockup in the background by Sorensen trying to make the overtake on Akron right now. But as we're looking at our third place driver of Joshua Alzari, following behind Justin Negrete and Ricker Bobberg. Our top 3, and here is a replay of that start incident. This is Nick Poliard. As you can see, they're 3 wide already and up ahead, and oh, that's just a car going extremely slow. Big checkup right there, and it was a lockup of the brakes by Nick Poliard. The car that checked up, I believe, was Rick Van Akkeren, and oh, that's another car getting pushed out wide right there. I'm not sure who that was, but my money would probably say that that was Nick.
It was Charney who spun. I'm not sure who made the contact. It was odd for Pop. Pop throughout that first lap just seemed to be so passive, letting everyone go. And of course he needs to get that top 4. Maybe it'll work out for him, but he's down to 8th position now, even though I think he should have confidence in himself, because he earned that P2 on the grid. Off the track goes Sorensen.
Now this is another replay. This is lap 1.
Hey.
Something happened to Josh Shu right here. I think this is just headed through Cots, and Josh Shu was the car that went extremely wide. Yeah, it was. Thank you for the SDK Gaming logo to be very transparent, so I can see that through the window right there as we go back to live pictures. This is... We're spitballing right here.
I think this is pretty much live pictures. Negrete and Alzugare having quite a big battle here. Here we are.
Yep,
and that is Alzugare up ahead. A driver who I am not familiar with. Again, though, Austin, maybe you are, because I've never seen him on track.
I do not have any experience commentating over Alzari, but Justin Negrete I do know, and he is right on that wheel. He's looking down to the inside. That's an aggressive look by Justin Negrete. Really hiding his nose right there, and you can see Alzari really well defending. He left the space, but not enough space to make that move cleanly and force him to go over the curves right there. But Justin Negrete, the American, all over the gearbox of the Spanish driver right now. And here comes Justin Negrete. He's got a great run. Negrete looking down to the inside. He's alongside of him. He's got his front wheel on his back wheel alongside, heading down to the inside. Justin Negrete. He's made that move pretty easily. Looks like Josu just let him by, and that's probably smart. If you're in the top 4, you'll be advancing to the finale. And our top 4 drivers: Ballberg, Negrete, Alzari, and Sorensen.
Yeah, and Mauro really quick at the minute. He started right from the back, did Mauro, already up 9 places. He's got to make this move very quick. He almost made it into Brooklands earlier on in the lap. Now he gets past at Cops, and he's got 3 seconds to catch up to Sorensen. On that last lap, he was actually slower than Sorensen, but he was a second quicker than Negrete. So, although Negretti was battling, I think if Mal's going to get top 4 here, he's going to need those top guys to fight. So, if you're listening along, Justin and Hosu, don't fight. It's fine where you are. Yes, it will change your grid position for the final or for the A final, but it won't be a big difference. They need to work together if they can and just stay in those spaces. And of course, Boberg not far ahead either, so they need to make sure they don't have a four-way scrap here. They're all in the transfer spots.
Yeah, we know on how fast Chuck Morrow is. He was doing extremely well in heat number 1, then made that little mistake right there, and which dropped him all the way down to the end of the grid here for heat number, well, for the Consolation race, and he definitely needs to get into that top 4. Last lap by Chuck Morrow was a 152.7. Last lap up for Sorensen was a 151.7. Now, you would say, it didn't Alzari have the fastest lap? Yes, he did, but he went off track to achieve that, and we got a new fastest lap for Alexander Scarrett, the driver that did the false start, and Scarrett is probably kicking himself after that one. As here is Edward Pop looking down the inside on May, and May holding it around the outside of Pop looking for that switchback move right there, defended brilliantly by May.
You know what, we have a lot of long names in Apex Racing League, don't we? And how refreshing is it to have such simple names out on track? We can all pronounce these names, May and Pop. You guys at home can pronounce them, we can pronounce them. This is what we like to see as commentators. So great work, guys, and this is going to be a very satisfying battle to commentate on. No messing about, So thanks to those guys. It's currently May in front of Pop.
Great work of being a part of those families with very simple names.
I'm not helping the cause, to be honest. But yeah, I can only apologise.
Though I'm going to be honest, where I'm from, we have a very famous head coach for the San Antonio Spurs, the winningest coach of all time, Greg Popovich. And I'm going to be honest, I almost said Popovich about 3 times during that.
Okay, so it's not easy for both of us. It's just easy for me.
It's just easy for you, and when we get the simple names, I think it's extremely hard for me.
That is some close. That is some close lap times at the front. 51.7, 51.5, 51.8, 51.8, 51.6.
Is this the F1 midfield? 5. What the heck?
This is good racing. I mean, this is the B final as well. Really high quality driving from these guys. Albeit we did see that spin from Boberg earlier on, and he cannot afford a similar spin. It was around this part of the circuit. It was at Luffields in race 1, and he's been caught by Negretti right now.
It was around this time too.
Yeah, you're right. Yep.
If he's watching this back, he's probably, if he's listening to us right now, he's like, oh, don't you dare bring that up right there. Sorry, commentators, that's what we do. But the top 5 putting in identical times to each other, that Chuck Morrow is definitely not going to be able to catch them unless these top 4 are fighting. But the top 4, I believe, are just, they're so separated by each other, equally separated, about 8-7 tenths separated between each car, that they are going to fight each other. They all know that they need to advance to the finale, and if they work together, if they don't fight each other, they're all going to make it no matter what. And this is
that's got to be their mindset.
That is very smart racing. You can see the top 4 right there that Chuck Morrow trying to close down on them. It is 2 seconds, I believe, Morrow behind Sorensen.
Big shouts out to Virtual Racing School, by the way, one of our sponsors. 50+ data packs for road and oval racing. Those data packs including setups, track guides, data analysis software, on-one coaching, as we see Scarrett passing Arroyo. Huge thanks to Virtual Racing School for helping us out here on Apex Racing TV, and make sure to check out virtualracingschool.com to get more details. Their telemetry in particular is super useful to be able to use, or to be able to compare your telemetry to the telemetry of a pro level driver. The gap continues to come down. On that last lap, came down by another 10th. Sorensen a bit slower. He was caught by Mario on that last lap by 3 tenths, but like you were saying before, Austin, he will not catch in time. They've got 1 more lap to go after this one. So, if you're Negretti, do you overtake? Because if you don't overtake, you run the risk of Boberg potentially backing you up. But I think you just got to have faith in Boberg here to keep up a decent pace. He's out lapping Alzugare at the moment. So just stay behind Boberg, I think, and take that second place.
Stay behind Boberg. If you have the run, you can take it. Just don't put it into a very silly situation right there. But, you know, racing drivers, when we have that opportunity to go for the car ahead, we're going to take it. Even though we don't want to, you know, you sometimes got to go for it. And you can see Negrete really on the gearbox right now. Closed in half a second on Boberg right there. And heading through Magus Beckett to see Boberg taking much wider lines to Justin right now. Justin, he's going to be having the draft to see Boberg defending just a little bit. If I was Boberg, I'd let him pass. Just avoid any contact right now. Any sort of happenings, and this is what's happening right now. Negrete looking down the inside, Boberg going wide, as they're going to be side by side for the lead of this race. Boberg defending on the inside, Negrete getting onto the brakes, getting onto the binders right there, using all the car to his abilities, avoiding a lockup. I believe that car was on the edge of locking up right there, as he is all over the gearbox, and white flag is in the air. All of the gloves are off for the lead of this race. I don't care if they have a truce going on right now. They're going for the lead of this race, and they're going for third and fourth right behind it. If you're Chuck Morrow, you are licking your lips right now. Down to the inside goes Justin Negrete. Oh, Boberg. Oh, Negrete locked up the wheels. Boberg swung it around the outside. Negrete is... He didn't stall the car. I thought he stalled the car. It looked stationary for a bit, but a mistake by Negrete that's allowed Rickard Boberg to pull out a 1.5 second lead. And now Negrete under pressure by Auxari and Sorensen. Here is Chuck Morrow. That is a second gap to the cars ahead by Morrow, as they all immediately abandoned that little fate they had in all the cars just working together. As soon as they started working against each other, Chuck Morrow, he is on he's on their heels right now. Sorensen in that P4 spot attacking on Joshua ahead of him, heading into Cop's corner right now. And was that little spurt of aggressiveness by these drivers going to be their downfall heading into Magus, Beckett, and Chapel? They're all over the gearbox of each other. Sorensen just taking the lines, just looking a little bit smoother than Joshua ahead of him. As here comes Chuck Morrow. It's just a little bit too far away, 7/10 away. And this is the last opportunity in the draft. And, you know, if you're Chuck Morrow, you're just saying, send it, send it, send it, send it. And that's what he definitely needs to happen for one of these, for him to get into the finale. Checker flag is in the air, down to the inside is defending by Joshua Sorensen, trying to hold it around the outside for that position. Chuck Morrow's on his tail right there. Boberg takes the win. Negrete in second place. They come 3 wide across the line. Auxari takes third. Sorensen in fourth. Chuck Morrow does not advance to the finale. But what a charge that he did. Up 10 spots from last on the grid here in this consolation race.
Yeah, that was good fun, wasn't it? That's what we want to see from the progression spots, because, yeah, Mari nearly caught up. And on the lap previous, Alzugare and Sorensen really lost each other lots of time through club, and there I think they lost probably between half a second and second just through one corner, and that just absolutely decimated the gap, and it was nearly enough for Mari to catch up. But Sorensen, I'm not sure if he decided to stay behind Alzugare on that last lap or whether he just wasn't close enough for a move. Either way, if they had fought a little bit more, then that would have been big problems. So those 4 go through. They will be at the back of the grid. So 24 drivers for the A final, and yeah, those top 10 from the heats will be ahead of those 4 that just got through. But that is a really good place to be in. You're guaranteed more points than anyone who finished in the B final. And of course, if some carnage happens ahead of you, those progressive drivers could well score some big points as we see the final results.
Yeah, Rickard Boberg and Justin Negrete, Josh Shu, and Leslie Sorensen all advancing to the finale. As Chuck Marr, Rick Van Akron, John May, Edouard Pop, Andreas Helgard, Kambali, Chani, Jamie Duque, Alexander Scarrett, Jose Arreo, Nick Poliard, and Corey Schwab will not be headed to the final. This is the end of their day here. As we are getting ready for the finale. We'll be right back after a short ad break. And welcome back to the Apex Racing Academy Formula 3 VRS Super Series, Season 6, Round 2 here at Silverstone. Well, we've had 3 great races so far today. Action and qualifying as well. And I can tell you, it's all going to come down to this. We have 14 drivers. Nope. No, it is 14. 24. I failed math if it's very obvious. I haven't slept. 24 drivers all are going to be lined up for the finale, or they're just out there right now warming up or calming down for a few of them that didn't make it. But all 24 drivers in the finale, I would say, are out there just getting their laps right, maybe practicing their starts, getting a feel for how these tires are going to be. They didn't do well at the heat races. This is where they're going to try to get it right, as this is the finale feature race. Sam, what goes into the final race of the day if you're one of these drivers?
I think it builds up quite nicely, doesn't it, when you have these races? Because I think sometimes we have the reverse grids, and race 1 is kind of the race where all the fast guys are at the front. Whereas this is the opportunity now for the drivers, because they're going up against each other in qualifying, but there's no points on offer for qualifying. This is when it counts. This is when the big points are available. I think it's 40 points for the race win in the heats, but 70 points for the race win in the A final. So really big opportunities for these drivers, and it's going to be cool to kind of see these drivers battle it out, because we've seen some very quick times already being put in by the drivers. Now we're going to properly see who is the best out of all of them. By the way, quick shout out to Apex Racing Academy. Just saw a little bit of a trailer about them just before we went to this, but just before we went back live. Do make sure to check out apexracingac.com. We may speak about them a little bit later on.
Yeah, as our final grid is getting lined up right now, Lennart Schnabel and Chris Rosenkrantz on the front row. Samuel Hermer right behind them, followed by Nicholas Westman, Nicholas Rasmussen, Gavin Petty, Kevin Swemster, Jack Reeve, Alejandro Lado, Kenty Larson, Matthias Martinson, and Aaron Smith, your top 12. Behind them is James Cockram, Tobias Olsen, Josh Lane, Alistair Hay, Michael Kaibach, Christian Glamsetter, Michael Blyce, Philip Russell, Rickard Bodberg, Justin Negrete, Jastu Agzari, and Lasse Sorensen at the back of our 24-car grid, which are all lined up and getting ready to go. Aaron Smith will be starting from the pit lane as we are green for round number 2 here at Silverstone. It's a great start by Rosenkrantz and Schnabel. Rosenkrantz already on through the gearbox right there. Samuel Hermer going for the switchback at Abbey right now, trying to get that better run. He's onto the back wheel, and there was contact between Rosenkrantz and Hermer right there. Hermer had to back off. They both go wide off the track. Rosenkrantz and Schnabel elbows out racing right now. Schnabel getting the lead on Rosenkrantz. Rosenkrantz taking that outside line. Nicholas Rasmussen up 2 spots already, taking advantage of Samuel Hermer. There was contact in the background with Kaibach and Blythe, Sorensen, Boberg. Back 4 cars all into contact right now. As here's Rosenkrantz and Schnabel. Rosenkrantz around the outside on Schnabel, just holding him right there, just trying to get to the inside of the track. He does get down to the inside of the track right there, and now he's going to have these elbows out off the corner as Schnabel's going to go way off the track using the AstroTurf and then some of the actual turf right there. But it's Rosenkrantz leading out Schnabel. They are wheel to wheel right now, nose wing to nose wing. Mirror to mirror, honestly, as Rosenkrantz going extremely wide, heading into Cobb's corner. Schnabel backed off, just wanting to be safe through Cobb's corner, but that extreme wide move by Rosenkrantz allowed Schnabel to be right back on him. And Schnabel all over the gearbox right now through Magus, and Chapel. As, Schnabel's going to have to go off the track. He made a little bit of mistake, and he's going to be serving a drive-through penalty. The slowdown penalty, now drive-through penalty. Don't get your hearts beating out of the chest right there. Mine is currently going crazy. And that is Rasmussen jumping up into second place. Also making a move is Westerman on Schnabel. Schnabel serving that slowdown penalty as best they can. And there's Kevin Zwemstra getting ahead of Schnabel. Gavin Petty, Jack Reeve. That list keeps on going and going, but I think he's cleared that slowdown penalty right there. And there's one driver behind him that is definitely charging in. That's Samuel Hermer. We saw Hermer have a great start, and oh, almost contact right there with Hermer going miles off the track into the runoff to avoid the slow car ahead of him, as there is still more cars serving slowdown penalties and getting around of, oh my gosh, Schnabel with that one mistake to keep the car safe. Really lost a lot of spots, and at the end of lap 1, it's Sorensen, Kaibach, and Blyes heading into the pit lane. Tobias Olsen, your defending champion, is down in 18th. He had a dreadful start.
Yeah, I saw that he lost 4 places almost, well, certainly in the first half of the lap, so problems for him. As we see Wesman going up alongside Zwemstra there. Zwemstra up the 3 places already. Only qualified in P10 to Zwemstra, but seemingly better race pace for him right now. He is right on the tail. Reeve doing terrifically well, top of the amateur drivers. He is actually up 2 places after that already very strong heat result, as Hermer, after nearly spinning Abbey on that one. Oh, huge crash there. That's going to be straight in the wall there for Larson, hard into the barrier. That's the end of his day. Was that Hermer who made the contact? Or was it Martinson?
I think that was Martinson. All I know, that looked very similar to a very famous incident here that caused up a lot of controversy. Have fun, stewards.
Yeah. No precedent though. Different championship. This is much more serious and much better stewarding, I'm sure, in this championship as well. Martinson having to defend now against Hermer. So Martinson was able to get ahead in all of that though of Hermer. Hermer now coming back again. Here comes Alzugare. He must have had a bit of well, Alzugare's done amazing. Of course, he only got through on the Consolation. He's up 14 places as the Spaniard, doing amazingly. Hermer does make that move stick, but the Spaniard is surely going to be past the Swede very soon.
Yeah, and he's got a lot of fans in the chat right now. Does Joshu right there, as Joshu going really wide, defending from the 121 on his tail. Actually, no, that's Joshu attacking Martinson right there. Martinson going really wide. We got a car crashing in the back of that. That's Alistair Hay. Alistair Hay, it looked like somebody got into his back end because his rear wing was off right there. Alistair Hay, big crash, and will be out of this race as there's 3 wide heading into Brooklands right now. Joshu set up around the outside, and there's Schnabel attacking down the inside as they're both attacking on Martinson right now.
Yeah, really terrific stuff from those drivers. I'm sure that one's not going to end anytime soon, as Petty now in the next to move past Westman. Is he going to be able to make this move stick? Is it clean, unlike on the previous lap further down the order? And that seems all good there for Petty. Should have his nose ahead heading into Max and Beckett, and he is up into 4th position. So Kevin Petty driving extremely well. Westman seemingly dropping back now after putting pressure, or apologies, after being ahead of Swemstra even earlier on in the race. There's still only half a second separating the top couple of drivers. Still having to try to break the drought. Here comes the Finnish driver of Wesman, trying to get back past, but he's going to be offline there. Might get onto the
switchback.
Yeah, he's going to have a chance again. It's so difficult to defend around this track. It's just such a wide track. You can't just cover off the inside, because you can always go further to the inside. That time I think Petty's going to be able to make a break for it, and Wesman will have to look behind him at really close battle behind Martinson at the moment with Schnabel, Alzugare and Smith. Really good battle there, just on the outskirts of the top 10.
Yeah, his back end kicked out right there, coming out of the corner, was very aggressive as well, he's trying to make the moves as we go back to this 4-car fight. And look at the background, Smith on Joshu with a very charging move down to the inside. Yeah, I'm going to be honest, I think Joshu might have been surprised by that move, because Aaron Smith came out of nowhere right there to take 10th place.
That was brilliant. Had a bit of a slide through the loop, but kept enough speed and he set his sights on Schnabel because those two top two in the Amateur Championship from last season. Schnabel ending up the champion despite Smith leading in the opening rounds. This is Lado versus Glamsetter. Glamsetter second place out of the AMS. He's still second place out of the AMS, but he's now got the Spanish driver just ahead of him. Yeah,
beautiful move by Lado. Glamsetter was really defending hard, but Lado just absolutely finessed that one right there. Alejandro Lado of Racing Forces. And I can tell you, he's certainly feeling some forces through these corners right now. This was real life.
That's really making me confused with Force India. You had Force India and you had Racing Points. And he's been able to put those two names together to make Racing Forces. I like both those teams, to be fair.
Be glad the car is not pink.
Oh, I absolutely love the pink livery. I already was an Alpine supporter, but when I saw that lovely pink livery, maybe even more.
No. Like, he's not racing a pink car, because if he... That name plus a pink car, one of those names would have came out. Racing Point, Racing Force. Force India? Oh my gosh, I'm confusing myself.
Yeah, Force India was one of them. I remember they were going to call themselves Force One, I think at one point.
Yes.
There was a lot of rumours. I was like, I think pre 2015, it shows how dull that year was. I was like, oh, what are they going to call themselves next year? Force One? And that was the most exciting thing. But no, I think Racing Forces is
that's
a good
when
name.
GP2 engine was also made.
Exactly. Oh, a classic. We've come up with 3 Nando memes.
Yeah.
It's,
4, I guess. I think I dropped another one in there, and I just didn't pay attention. This is the replay of the start. Michael Blyce, and all that chaos that happened at the start of this race. There's Alistair Hay. Yeah, this is the incident where he was tapped in the rear, just went rocketing through there. Luckily didn't get collected right there, but he was very upset and on the radio immediately just saying, quote, "Come on, guys." You don't have to be that aggressive this early on in the race.
Yeah, I'm quite certain that wasn't L plan right there.
Yeah, there's number 5.
6.
6.
Or number 5. As Schnabel's still just ahead. So Marston's got back ahead of Smith then. So, or no, I think he was always ahead, wasn't he? It was Smith who got past Alzugare. Ooh, that's a move here from Herma past Reeve. Remember, Herma almost spun at Cox Corner. I thought he was going to be out of the race earlier on. Sorry, it was at Abbey, wasn't it? But he has come back very strongly up into P6. Hasn't got any damage on that car miraculously. And Reeve sort of by himself most of this race, and he will just have the aim of getting to the end of the race without being caught by Schnabel and co. But he'll need to keep up a very good pace in order to do so.
Yeah, Samuel Hermer, that lap 1 incident, we saw him back off a lot. It was wheel-to-wheel contact with Rosenkrantz fighting for the lead, and oh my gosh, I'm so glad that both of them are still in this race. But that just shows on how aggressive that Samuel Hermer has been today. He was showing aggression from Heat 1 all the way to the finale, and definitely putting his car on the line to somebody else who's very aggressive. And I would expect to be even more aggressive in the finale. Tobias Olsen, he's down to 17th.
I wonder if he's got damage, because that last lap for him was 2.5 seconds off the pace. And
well,
we know they had problems on lap 1.
Well, we have the magic of cameras. Let's see what Olsen's car looks like right now. As it looks like Philip Russell might have had an issue. Oh yeah, there is damage on that car by Olsen. That's a lockup too. Olsen getting offset, and oh no, Olsen dropping down 2 spots. Yeah, that car is looking like a unicycle trying to off-road right there. The front wing looks like a Dorito chip that's been misshapen, and I think the suspension is well, trying to play tic-tac-toe with itself.
And you think he definitely had the pace to contend for the win this evening. He qualified up in P2, and yet he was
aggressive.
Maybe over-aggressive, wasn't he, in the heat? Maybe could have... Well, I don't think necessarily set up a P3 because it was still early in the race.
He was a second. It was the battle for the lead, not the battle for P3. Samuel Hermer was in the battle for 3rd.
Yeah, and if he just waited behind a little bit longer, leave it till the last couple of laps. And it was sort of a soft mistake, wasn't it? It wasn't even like he was racing alongside. He was following another driver, I think.
He was following another driver heading into Cop's Corner. He hit the curb on the inside of the track on the entry of Maggots and Beckett's, and that sent him into a 720 spin. He called it a 360, but I'm pretty sure I counted 2 spins right there. I'm getting into Tony Hawk Pro Skater moves, but I'm pretty sure that one wasn't wicked, as that game would say.
Westman has been caught once again.
Oh, that's a spin by
already been
Reeve.
overtaken 3 times. Oh
That's
no, that's our AM leader. And Glamset will take the lead in the AMs.
Yeah, Jack Reeve heading through the loop. Back end went out, and Christian Glamsetter now takes the AM lead ahead. There is Alejandro Ledo ahead of him. Aaron Smith and Martinson side by side with each other heading into Brooklyn's and Sam Hermer defending from Westerman as 3 minutes remain here at Silverstone right now. Here's Aaron Smith under pressure by Matthias Martinson as they go down the old start-finish straight, defending all the way down to the wall, heading into Kopp's corner. Aaron Smith's corner is going to be that one, and neither of them making the track right there. As we got a replay of what's happened to Jack Reeve, and this is just all self-induced. Heading into the loop, and he looped it around. Too much mustard right there for Jack Reeve, and he's going to be shaking his head off that. And now he's going to be charging onto the back of Christian Glamsetter. As this
Sorry to interrupt. I was just going to say how he had the opportunity to pull a bit of a gap in the championship tonight. Did Jack Reeve, after already being championship leader, having that strong heat result, and then getting in the very high echelons of this A final. Could have been sort of 20 or 30 points clear in the championship, but not anymore. Smith maybe getting a little bit of a drop from Schnee, but I think he's dropping back. Yeah, 2/10 of a second slower.
He hit the curb off the exit. Here is Alejandro Ledo down to the inside of Abbey. You don't see that one every day. And Ledo making the move, and here's Aaron Smith under pressure by Martinson. Martinson going deep on the brakes, trying to swing it around the outside of Aaron Smith. Aaron Smith, though, keeping cool right there and staying ahead of Martinson. I believe they're closing in on Schneebel ahead of him.
Well, if they keep on passing like this, they're not going to be
white flag in the
closing
air.
in. Yes, as Smith going to defensive, he keeps ahead once again. Martinson actually lost time in all that cone, a lot of speed through, and had to get out of the throttle if he was going to avoid running wide. Ledo, how much faster is Ledo? Wow, Ledo was a second faster than these guys. Ledo was the second fastest man of everyone on that last lap. I'm not familiar with Ledo whatsoever, but he seems very quick. He started this race in P9 and has had to make quite a few places just to get back to that area. He could get P8 out of here. We're going to have one more lap after this, so he could catch and pass these two drivers and get a very well earned P8.
I've seen Ledo race a few times in IGP Fun, massive grid, 60 cars, and all your big Formula 3 names are in there. Tobias Olsen, I believe three-time champion, Thiago Marteau races in there, defending champion in there as well, no surprise. But that grid is really packed, and Ledo does a lot of good work in that series. So I'm not surprised by his pace right now, especially through Silverstone. And, with one lap to go, now it's white flag in the air, just crossing the line by Rosecrans. That just shows you how much of a gap that Rosecrans had to everybody else. Now white flag is in the air. I believe Ledo will be finishing higher than 10th.
Here comes Petty. He's been catching up to Hermer for a while. Not on that last lap, he only actually caught by half a tenth, so he's been close for a while. That's wide, but actually that might help, if anything, as Wemster, because it forced Petty to get out of the throttle ever so slightly before going onto the back straight. Now is able to go defensive. Petty has to, Petty has to regain that momentum in order to go alongside around the outside as the upper hand into Luffields, who is going to come out on top. Usually the outside Joe has the better launch out of this corner into Woodcuts now, and it will come down to a battle into Kopp's corner. Whoever has their nose ahead usually has the advantage going through here. You can run wide, can't run too wide though and get a slowdown. Petty has the upper hand. He's still got to defend. Here comes the reflective move here from Zwemstrup, who's got his nose ahead and he moves back ahead, but there will still be the opportunity into Stay and into Club to decide who's going to finish on the podium.
How did he squeeze himself through that small gap right there? Kevin Zwipstra up into third with a phenomenal move on the last lap. Now Zwipstra defending from Petty. Petty all on the gearbox right there. Petty going on to the outside. Petty's got the move made around the outside. He's got his nose ahead, and he's going to be trying to hold it around the outside. He does hold it around the outside. Zwipstra now going on to the attack, heading into the chicane. Zwipstra and Petty. Petty late onto the brakes. Petty's going to be coming out with third, as it's Chris Rosenkrantz taking the win here in Silverstone. Rasmussen in second place. Gavin Petty in third. Kevin Zwipstra in fourth. Samuel Hermer home in fifth, followed by Westman, Schnabel, Smith, Martinson, Aledo in 10th, Josh Su in 11th, followed by Christian Glamstetter taking the win for the Amateur Championship ahead of Jack Reeve. Bauberg finishes in 14th, followed by Justin Negrete, Russell, and Tobias Olsen. Well, I'm pretty sure he won't be the championship leader after this round. Finishes, the defending champion finishes down in 17th, followed by Sorensen. Cockram is actually in the pit lane, but I believe he crossed the line. Yes, he does. The car is still on track right now. It's Kaibach, Lane, Blias, and Larson. They aren't really in a fight with each other, so I'm pretty sure we can write them into the book right there. But man, what a race.
That was terrific, wasn't it? We didn't pay too much attention to the lead battle, but Rosenkrantz and Rasmussen, that gap was sort of just increasing ever so slightly, lap by lap, about a tenth of a second faster as Rosenkrantz. Really good to see two of the most experienced drivers on the grid. That's out at the top, and we got such a strong field this season. I mean, I know Olsen's probably the championship favourite still, even after tonight, but there's so many good other drivers. You could all take the title. Many new drivers as well to the league, but really good work there from Rosenkrantz, because I think that's probably the best run he's actually had in this series after a few seasons of trying. Like I was saying, in qualifying, often things go against him, but nothing went against him tonight. He scored maximum points. Didn't get pole position, that's the only thing, but you don't get points for qualifying, so he won his heat, won the A final as well, which is, makes it a perfect night.
Yeah, absolutely perfect. And we do have him standing by. So, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Chris Rosenkrantz. Chris, how are you feeling after that?
Yes, I'm quite happy about the win. So, yes, I feel quite good about the win, and I'm really happy. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, happy is well, very easy to put it. It seemed that everything you needed to do definitely went your way today. You started on the front row, and you had the perfect start. It was a little bit very hard fought race in the opening laps, especially in the heats and in this finale race. But you definitely on both those situations, you came on top of both of them. Do you want to talk about the opening laps?
Yes, I think opening laps are always a bit difficult. All drivers are hyped for the race and going always flat out and full throttle. So it's normally that hard racing is going on there, and you should be careful and fair in kinds of touching. But I think that's normal for a race, and I feel quite normal because that's normal for racing, like fighting hard at the beginning of the race.
Well, a big congrats to you, Chris. I believe after this, you are now leading the championship. Though it's only after 2 rounds, so it's a small data point, but it's definitely one to start seeing consistency throughout the season. So we'll definitely be seeing you up here throughout the Moorish as you try to keep this lead. But before we let you go, anybody you want to thank?
Yes, huge thanks to my racing team, Simsa Esports, and the boss Peter Klavitter for trusting in me, and also to you guys for the nice broadcast. See you next week, and thanks for the good racing.
And thank you for putting on a great show out there, Chris Rosenkrantz. And over to Sam. Sam, who are you standing by with?
I'll drag up our second place finisher in the A final tonight, Mr. Niklas Rasmussen. Congratulations, Niklas. Really good points earned today. Let's go from the start. Your heat race. Forgive me, I don't remember that much from it, but you got P3 in what was a very high quality field.
Yeah, I once again managed to mess up qualifying, and please don't laugh too much, but this is the second week in a row that I hit the ignition switch by accident in qualifying. So I had to start deep in the heat race, and I just wanted to get a solid race there. Had a fantastic race with Samuel Hammer. He passed me on around the outside one time, like that was amazing. Yeah, got through that, and then yeah, had a solid finale. To say I couldn't catch Rosenkrantz, unfortunately, he was. I mean, the dude's quick. Nothing else to say about it. We need to do better, but happy with P2.
Definitely. I mean, it really did seem like sort of Chris was on top form tonight, so it was always going to be tricky to battle with him. Was there any point in that final race where you thought that you might be able to beat him? Because at least from our time screen, it just seemed like he was maybe a tenth of a second faster every lap, and it was just incrementally increasing. Do you think, had you stayed in the draft, do you think you would have had a chance? Was there anything you could have done, or was it just on pure pace that he had the edge?
He had the pace. I don't think maybe I could have gotten a run on him early on in the race. I think I slightly over pushed the tires trying to catch up, and then I gave up near the end. Really just wanted P2. So if I had that shot, it would have been early on in the race. But obviously he was just out of reach, and yeah, I even in the draft, I couldn't close the gap. I would just lose out in Magus Beckett's and Chapel every time, just a few tenths, and had to spend the whole lap to catch those tenths up again, and then lose them again, and that was basically my race. And yeah, nothing to do.
Of course, you're one of the favourites for the championship. Would you say that's sort of influencing your driving? Because we were talking about the heat races, whether or not to go for an overtake. Are you a bit cautious to go for an overtake considering the championship, or are you just, racing as if it was an official series race?
I mean, obviously, I want to do well in the championship. So every time you have to take a calculated risk. I think over the course of a season, it's impossible not to mess up. So probably something will happen, but at the end of the day, I want to be there at the end to have a fighting chance. So obviously, it does have a lot to say when you go, especially in the heat races, trying to go for moves because if you mess up in a heat race, you have to spend the entire finale or feature catching up again, and don't want to do that. So it has a lot to say for sure.
Is there anyone you'd like to give a shout out to?
Yes, a bit personal this time. I lost my grandma yesterday, and I want to dedicate this second place to her. Gotta say a huge thanks to you guys making the broadcast happen. The team Alcantech and HR, all my fantastic teammates, Kevin Mattis and Leonard Snable, welcome on board to the team. And obviously the main sponsor, Alcantech Simulations.
Well, thanks for having a chat with us, Nicholas, and yeah, hopefully yourself and your family are yeah coping with that loss, and yeah, hopefully we see you back next week.
Certainly will. See you guys.
Nicholas Rasmussen there. Uh, I will drag up another interview. I think Austin may need to leave, unfortunately. But I will drag up one last interview before we say goodbye. Oh dear, who are we going to have a chat with? I think we are going to have a chat with Lena Schnabel because Lena was on really good form tonight. Took pole position, took the race one win as well, but it wasn't meant to be come the A final. Yeah, bad luck out there, Lennart, but really good performance. I mean, it's crazy to think that you were an amateur driver last season, and at the start of the season, you were struggling to get top tens, and now this season, in an even stronger field, you're taking pole positions and outright race wins.
Yeah, it's probably because I got new people around, people where I can learn from. That wasn't the case in my old team, but I'm really thankful to be at Alcantech NHR. We just met 1 week ago, and it works very good. I'm just incredibly happy to be in this team.
Absolutely. That final race start was intense. We saw you alongside for a few corners. I think it was with Rosenkrantz. Eventually, you got a slowdown. I mean, how was that lap one from your perspective? Because it seemed to be really tight between you two.
Yeah, I felt like the start was really good. I could kept him behind me and eventually got a slowdown because of an very understeery car. But yeah, things like that happen. I will learn from. Was also a bit unfortunate because the slowdown wasn't decreasing as I thought. So it was steadily increasing from 2 seconds to 3.5 seconds. Was a bit weird, but I did the best out of it, and yeah, really happy for 7th place. Still good. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, and yeah, those slowdowns on lap one are very odd. Like you say, they can increase even if you're not going at full pace. Finishing in that P7 in the end. Next up is Monza. What are your thoughts on that track?
I like this track. It has a nice flow. It's very fast, obviously. And I think we can improve a bit. Yeah, see what it brings, and I'm looking forward to it.
Absolutely. Well, we wish you the best of luck for that one, Lennart. Is there anyone you'd like to give a shout out to?
Shout out to my new team, Nicholas, Mattis, and Kevin. We had quite some fun, and yeah, also shout out to my parents, and just to you guys. Incredibly good stream. Yeah, and that's it.
Thank you very much for the kind words, Lennart, and we'll see you back next week. So that was Lennart Schnabel there, and I think that pretty much rounds out our interviews because we're pretty much at time already. And still need to mention SDK Gaming, who we haven't mentioned tonight, but SDK Gaming are the producers of our overlay and our live timing as well. It pretty much makes broadcasting possible for us here at Apex Racing TV. We really couldn't do it without them. And of course, it's brilliant as well if you want a heads-up display for whilst you're racing. If you stream on YouTube or Twitch as well, it is really some of the most useful kit you can get on iRacing. So do make sure to check out sdk-gaming.co.uk in order to get yourself a subscription. That pretty much rounds us off then for this evening. Thanks to, of course, Austin, and thanks to John as well for directing this broadcast. Of course, if you've enjoyed this broadcast, do make sure to leave a like on the video and subscribe to Apex Racing TV. We've got the Spec Racer 4 Championship tomorrow. We've got the next round of the Apex Racing League Mazda Cup as well on Monday. We have got GT3 Trophy on Tuesday. That will be really good bumper field in that. That's going to be like 50 GT3 cars for that series. So that should definitely be one of the best to watch over the course of the next week. Just having a look at the other live races as well. We've got 3.5 coming up in just a few minutes actually, so pop over. That will be at Imola. Also, Rick Motec Classic Sprint Series as well on Monday nights. So do make sure to subscribe to the channel, click the notification button, and you can know whenever we go live on Apex Racing TV. Also check out our social media pages as well on Twitch, Twitter, Facebook and Instagram. But from myself, Sam Fitzpatrick, from Austin Knight, and from John Robertson, we are going to say goodbye for now, and we'll see you back next week at Monza. See you then.
Are you struggling for consistency in your sim racing? Does your iRating look like a roller coaster? If so, we have good news for you. The way to get more consistent is to first understand what you're doing differently than the professionals. And VRS is the answer. With our competitive subscription, You will have the telemetry, setups, tutorials, and everything else you need to fully analyze your driving. Our data packs and the ability to compare your driving with the best in the world will show you exactly where to adjust your inputs, change your driving line, and shave seconds off of your lap times. And our powerful and precise Direct Force Pro wheelbase and precision pedals are being used by some of the world's best drivers, including Peter Berryman, John Robertson, Brandon Trano, and IndyCar World Champion Alex Palou. All these champions agree that VRS hardware is not just the best on the market, it's also priced well below the competition. So if you're looking to upgrade to direct drive and the best pedals in sim racing, VRS is your answer. If you want to get better, get faster, and make it happen sooner rather than later, you owe it to yourself to find out why so many people are switching to VRS. You'll be so glad that you did. Visit www.virtualracingschool.com and learn why the best use VRS.